This is me. As a drinks man, I've been lucky enough to travel the world pouring drinks and mixing cocktails for all sorts of people, and it's provided me with a really good living. But until recently, I hadn't had much time to explore my love of food, other than swapping cocktails and wine for kitchen secrets from some of the world's best chefs. So I made a few phone calls, packed my bags and camera, and set off on my own culinary adventure to discover my farming childhood roots, the food I grew up with. I like to call it green food, and this is the story of a generation of people who embrace it. If you're lucky enough to make it up to the Hunter Valley, you might like to take a trip just a little bit further northwest of Cessnock up to the Broke Valley. Here you'll find estate grown and estate-made food and wine, put it all together in a rammed earth winery and restaurant, and you have this, Margan Estate Family Wine and Restaurant. Here to show me a little bit more is Lisa Margan.
This was an empty paddock, a dusty paddock, and we had a vision for it probably about 8 years ago. And we travelled around Europe quite a bit, sketched every interesting courtyard and every interesting building, any building that created a lovely flow for people. And we took notes and then came back, designed this ourselves and built it ourselves. Saw some rammed earth. Well, it's actually a French technique. Well, the Great Wall of China's built out of rammed earth.
How about that?
How about that? So it should stay up a little while.
It should stay up for another 3,000
yeah,
years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is that you're combining two high energy consumption businesses, winemaking and a restaurant. Yet you've really combated that with some sustainable ideas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're farmers first and foremost, so we've got 300 acres of vineyard, we've got the garden, and, you know, Australia is a fragile ecosystem, so all Australians really need to look after their land. Looking after it will ensure that you've still got it in years to come. These are all winter crops, so obviously things that cope with cold weather will thrive in these temperatures. Potatoes still work. Pumpkins, of course. Leeks, fantastic. Onions, red onions, many sorts of onions.
And a good selection of pumpkin, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does it work behind the scenes working with Andrew, your husband?
We have very separate areas. We have separate offices. That works well too. He's all vineyard and winery. I kind of style our business in terms of overall direction. He takes his own path with his areas and I take my own path with my areas.
Of all wines in the Hunter Valley, we have a strong acid structure to our wines, and that's what makes them go so well with food. This is our age release, our 05, so it's had a bit of time, fortunately on the screw cap, so those horrible corks. So with age, Hunter Valley Semillon tends to grow and get more complex, and that's what's again one of the most unique attributes of the style. Is most white wine gets worse as it gets older, but Hunter Valley Semillon gets better. Hunter Valley Semillon's a bit more of a connoisseur wine. You need to think a lot more about it rather than just drink it. It's not a wine for every occasion. It's a wine that matches really well with certain foods because of that cutting acidity that it's got. That's the important part of it.
Got a little anchovy mayonnaise, which is just made with some really good quality anchovies and some roasted garlic. And we'll just put a little circle of that in the plate. Just pureed olive, so it's just a little Kalamata olive, salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil. Some silver beet that's just been shredded up, and it's just been dusted in a little bit of seasoned fennel salt. Japanese technique called tataki. So it literally means take time and just slice your kingfish. we're creating a lot of different textures, and just so we can see the fish, we'll just set it off center. And that's it. Pepper crusted kingfish, anchovy mayonnaise, and black olives.
It's just beautiful. Look at that, an artwork.
Yeah, we've introduced a whole range of sustainability initiatives that'll just ensure that our little patch of dirt is looked after. So we write our menus completely around what's coming out of the garden that morning. In terms of menu selection, we source as locally as possible, and that's the muddy footsteps to the garden. And hopefully visitors who come here and see what we're doing, hopefully they can be inspired by a little bit of that as well, because you can still have a quality offering, you can still have a viable business, but you can actually balance it with starting to think about your carbon credits and what you can actually do to look after things.